eyes are watering so bad right now that this eyelash isn't even glued to my eye, it's just sitting there. But I'm gonna leave it because my eyes are really swollen today. I kind of messed up my sleep schedule, and so I've been waking up super early, and then I'm really tired because I'm waking up so early, and then my eyes are really swollen and really puffy. Like, it's 8 a.m. right now when I'm filming this. That is unheard of. But hey y'all, I am back and I have some sleep paralysis stories that I'm super excited to read about. I actually got this idea from one of you guys. I had someone DM me on Instagram and they asked me if I would read stories about lucid dreaming, and so I looked into that. The stories weren't really creepy or scary, so I decided to go with sleep paralysis. And this article has 31 truly terrifying tales from people with sleep paralysis. 31. We are definitely not getting through all 31, but we're just gonna see what happens. I've been having the same dream regularly since I was a child. I wake up and I'm in my bed. There's someone in the house. I can hear the footsteps moving around, coming up the stairs slowly. If I stay still, maybe the person won't come for me. I can hear him coming down the hall. I can see his shadow. He's a minotaur. He has a knife. He's coming for me. I scream. I wake up relieved, except there's someone at the bedroom door. And this time, I can't scream. I just know these are gonna freak me out and I'm gonna have some weird dreams tonight. I just know that for a fact. Also, I don't know if I said minotaur correctly. Minotaur? I think that's what it is. This next one says, I get sleep paralysis quite a lot, but you don't get used to it. It's just intense pressure holding you down. I can't speak. I can usually see the shadow of a dark figure out of the corner of my eye, but I can't turn my head to look at it, and that's pretty terrifying. Luckily for me, my partner is now used to this and we have a code. I start breathing really quickly and loudly, and if he notices, then he helps me snap out of it. It happens every time I fall asleep on my back. I wake up and I can't tell if my eyes are open or shut, but I can see my whole room. A dark presence is lurking on top of my wardrobe, and as soon as I notice it, I try and scream, but I can't scream and I can't move. The darkness slithers down the side of my wardrobe, across the floor, and looms over the end of my bed. Then it creeps all over me, trying to invade every orifice. I feel an immense pressure, like it has me pinned down and it's pushing its way into my ears, eyes, and mouth. The darkness then screams a terrible screech into my face, and I try to scream back until I eventually manage to jerk my head and everything disappears, and I'm alone in the darkness. It's the most terrifying of experiences. I've never experienced something like that. I've experienced, I guess, something similar, but I don't know if it's sleep paralysis necessarily, but it just scares the shit out of me. I cannot imagine waking up and not being able to do anything. I get it when I've had too much sleep. The only time I was really freaked out was when I thought I could hear chatter in the background. Then I could feel someone lay next to me sleeping, the quilt just moving with each breath. I could feel the weight behind me in bed, snoring. I started to panic as I knew no one was in the house. Eventually, I woke up and moved back slightly to feel no one there. It took me a while to get back off that night. I get it every now and then, but I know how to deal with it now. The absolute worst was when I was staying in a hotel with my boyfriend at the time. I remember trying to scream and move, anything to get his attention, but nothing I did would make a sound. It was terrifying. Then I got up to tell him what happened, and he bolted upright and strangled me. And then I finally woke up, incredibly shaken, but glad it wasn't real. Honestly, one of the scariest situations in my life, and it wasn't even reality. I just feel like I would have a hard time being like, that didn't actually happen, because it feels so real. I'm pretty sure I've told this story before on my channel, but I had a dream one time that I got shot, and I could like feel the warmth of the blood pouring out of my body. And I know that sounds so fucking weird, but it felt so real. And I woke up and I was just genuinely shocked that I wasn't actually dead. And for so long, I laid in bed just like, I know this happened. In my dream, I was shot, but I was actually shot in real life. Someone broke in, someone shot me. I know I'm bleeding out right now on the bed. It feels so real. And then the moment you come to reality, you're like, wait, what? Also, this eyelash is just bugging me. I know I should just take it off at this point, but I'm not going to. Anyways, the first time it happened to me was when I went for a nap during the day. I was lying on my side, facing away from my door, when I woke up to the sound of my door closing. I tried to turn around to see who had come into my room, but I couldn't move. My eyes were wide with terror. I could see everything in my room. I heard this thing walk around my room, then it sat on my bed, and I could feel the dip from its weight. It then shuffled towards me, and it felt like it began to spoon me. It was extremely tall. I was trying to move so hard, but I was just lying still. The thing started breathing on my neck and tickling my back. It then stood up and left after a few minutes. This was the most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me. I think every single one of these says it's the most terrifying thing, and I just believe it. I know it's repetitive, but I just believe it. I started experiencing sleep paralysis during the exam period of my first year at university, a very stressful time for me. The first time it happened, I woke up with the feeling I was being suffocated. My bed was literally swallowing me up. The more I panicked and the faster my pulse and breathing became, the quicker I was disappearing into the bed. I couldn't move a muscle and my attempts to scream were silent. After I calmed myself down, I kind of drifted out of my paralyzed state and woke up completely. The second time it happened, I awoke to a very tall man standing by my door holding something behind its back and moving towards me slowly. Once again, I couldn't move and couldn't make a sound. Definitely the most terrifying experience. Again, terrifying experience, I get it. But these are all different people, so I feel like it's like not that repetitive. Once I fell asleep on the couch watching some detective show. I woke up and sat up and I was completely out of my body. I kept trying to lay back down into my body and wake myself up, but I just stayed asleep. I stood up and looked out of the back door and it was completely dark. Then I went to the opposite side of the room and looked out of my front window and it was bright and sunny and there was a little old lady sitting under a tree by the lake. I was like, what the fuck? I spent the next 10 minutes laying down, then sitting back up, trying to attach myself to my body and shake myself awake. I thought if I didn't get back in, my body would die and my soul would wander. I didn't want to leave my living room. Okay, and then I see manifestations of horror in my bedroom at least once a week, from random people chilling on a chair at the bottom of my bed, to creepy old ladies, to swarms of flying ants or bats. The worst thing I saw was someone hanging right above my head. I couldn't move. I wanted to cry. I couldn't sleep in my room for a few days after that. The likelihood of it happening increases whether there's someone in my bed. This is mega awkward. Recently, some Tinder dude told me in the morning that I was like the fucking exorcist last night, and he wasn't talking about activities that happened when I was awake. Fuck my life. Oh my god. Okay, that was probably one of the worst ones just because of like the hanging. Like, I just can't imagine that. But doing it while there's literally a stranger in your bed, no. My worst experience with sleep paralysis was after I'd been up all night doing an essay. When I finished, I immediately dozed off. The next thing I knew, I had completely woken up, except there was a shadow demon looming over the end of my bed. It didn't have a face, but I could feel it staring at me, and it felt like pure evil. I tried with my whole body to scream, but nothing came out, which only made me panic more. I felt like the demon was about to attack me when its head twitched to the side and he pounced on my chest, sort of thrashing at me. I felt like it was suffocating me. I tried to close my eyes again and put all my energy into trying to wake up and move my body, the whole time with the demon hallucination still attacking me. When I was finally fully awake, I lay in bed for about half an hour shaking and near tears. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever experienced. I thought it was just a really vivid nightmare until a few months later when I read about sleep paralysis online. I got sleep paralysis a couple of times when I was a kid, but it became really bad in my second year of uni. I would wake up unable to move and feeling something sitting on my chest. It got worse when I started to see things, always in the corner of the room, a dark figure I knew was watching me. Sometimes it would whisper things which of course freaked me out. One time I was dragged down the bed by this dark figure, unable to stop it, but I managed to force myself to wake up. When we moved out of the house after second year, the sleep paralysis stopped. I've only had 2 episodes in the 6 years since. Wait, I wonder if it was something with the house. Is that possible? I don't know if it's like just like a person thing, like if you're just prone to sleep paralysis, or if it could be like your environment. Let me know if you know the answer to that. I don't know why you would, but let me know if you know the answer. The first time it happened, I remember waking up with an enormous pressure bearing down on me and a loud, almost deafening buzzing sound in my ears. I felt threatened, as though some malevolent demonic presence was hovering above me, trying to possess me, trying to force itself into my body, and I was unable to fight it off. I can remember trying to speak, to tell it to go away, to leave me alone, and then I wouldn't let it have me. Eventually the sound in my ears faded away and the pressure eased and I was able to move again. At the time I didn't really know what sleep paralysis was. It wasn't until I stumbled upon an article about it that I realized what I was suffering from. Although I know I'm not actually being attacked by some demonic force, it's still absolutely terrifying when you're stuck in the moment and unable to do anything except for wait for it to end. I don't feel like sitting on my knees anymore, so I'm gonna be like lower. I'll adjust the camera if it starts pissing me off, but for now we're just gonna be down here. I have terrible hallucinations, and as I try and fight my paralysis, I sometimes flick back and forth between reality and my dream, so I can see my room and have my eyes open, but the creature from my nightmare is also in my room. It's genuinely petrifying, and has made me feel like I'm actually being possessed, which in turn makes me feel like I'm going crazy. It used to only last a few seconds, but recently it's getting longer and longer. That's terrifying when you're conscious of it. You feel trapped inside yourself for a significantly long period of time, maybe 10 minutes. It's horrible. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I wish there was a real cure so I never had to go through it again. The best I can do is try and avoid technology before bed and make sure my bedtime is a set time every night to give me some routine. I get sleep paralysis 4 to 5 times a year. Happens mostly when I fall asleep during the day. I have vague, non-specific dreams, usually involving threat or danger. It's accompanied by a feeling of extreme dread, which then escalates into outright terror. I tend to have auditory hallucinations. The voice will be clear and I'll hear as if someone is standing right next to me. I know I'm asleep, but the voice is real. Sometimes I also see a figure standing nearby. I try to scream but can't make a sound. I'll try to run but can't move. Somewhere in my mind I'm aware I'm asleep, but I cannot wake up or move. I'm pinned down. The only way to come round is to let the terror overwhelm me and then I slowly come to. I don't wake up violently, thrashing, screaming, or sweating. I'm calm, but it takes me a couple of hours to feel normal again. It isn't the same as a nightmare. The feelings with sleep paralysis are profoundly intense but based on a non-specific threat. There's no monster, no axe murderer, no terrible accident, just you, alone with your fear and unable to escape it. That's like the worst description I've ever heard of it. I'm so scared I'm gonna have sleep paralysis tonight. I was living at home with my mom. I was unwell, so I was in bed all day. My mom was home with me. I must have fallen asleep as I never heard her open my bedroom door or walk across the room, but I felt her weight sit on my bed beside me. I heard her pick up my cup of water as if checking if I needed refilling and felt her brush my hair from my face. Then all of a sudden I was being choked. I felt hands around my neck. I couldn't open my eyes as if they were glued shut, and I tried to raise my arms to break free, but it's as if they were nailed to the mattress. I struggled to breathe and felt myself getting lightheaded. Then all of a sudden it went, and I could open my eyes and I could move again. My mom was nowhere to be seen. She was upstairs at the neighbor's house. That would be like the worst realization ever, but also kind of comforting that your mom wasn't trying to kill you. I once had a Woman in Black experience after watching the film where I woke up with a heavy weight on my chest, and in the corner of my eye thought I could see someone at the end of my bed. The figure had a large hat and black veil hanging down over its face. It started to stomp its feet and scream at me as if to get me to look at it. I'm assuming so I would die like in the film. I couldn't move. I was laid on my back with my head to my side and remember trying to move, pick up a glass to throw at the figure, but my arms wouldn't work. When I came around, I burst into tears. One of the most terrifying experiences I've had, and I still to this day can't sleep on my back, and that was 3 years ago. I don't know how many we've gotten through, but I'm just gonna keep going because honestly, I'm really enjoying this. I'd woken up in my dorm room. It was a stormy night, around 4 in the morning, and still quite dark, though there was some yellowish orange light from a street lamp outside. The window at the foot of my bed had been left cracked open and was banging in the wind. I got up to shut it and stumbled back to bed, lying on my right side facing the wall with my eyes closed. It began with tactile hallucinations. I felt as if a pair of slightly clammy hands with thick fingers were gently stroking my face, in particular my lips, eyes, and ears, and prodding at my mouth. Eventually this feeling gave way to prickling pins and needles all over my body, and I felt very cold and buzzing, as if I were electrified or covered in static shocks. At the same time, a heavy ringing began in my ears, very loud and in an even tone. It was at this point I got the sensation that there was someone else in the room, very close to me. I was unable to open my eyes, and I felt this weight pressing down on the left side of my ribs and shoulder. The light from the street was blocked by shadow, and I realized the shadow had a solid form. A squat creature with cat-like features and claws, though humanoid and compact. It was about 3 or 4 feet tall, sitting on top of me. It had pointed ears and pale yellow eyes with no pupils. I couldn't distinguish its face beyond the outline and its glowing eyes. I knew it was a demonic force of some sort, and I tried to scream. I felt the air leaving my throat, but only heard a faint whimper. I don't know how long this lasted, but eventually the apparition was gone and I was able to move. I got up and turned on my bedside light and sat up until dawn. That would be me. I would get up and I would never go back to sleep ever again. I've had 2 experiences of sleep paralysis. The first time there were just different faces coming towards me, no bodies, just faces. Terrifying. The second time I had been having a vivid nightmare about being burglarized, and when I went into sleep paralysis, I saw a man crouching beside my bed wearing a red checkered shirt who was brandishing a knife. I had never concentrated so hard on blinking. The experiences felt like they lasted forever, but must have only been a minute at most. I've experienced sleep paralysis throughout my life. I usually hear voices, sometimes incomprehensible, but always creepy and threatening. It's always been a woman's voice. As a child, I was convinced a witch lived in my room as a result. I get the feeling someone's in the room, but I can't see them and I can't move. I once had the sensation of someone getting into bed beside me and pushing against me, which was terrifying. I often get a strange tingling feeling throughout my body and a ringing in my ears, which is awful. I always put these episodes down to nightmares until a couple of years ago I read about sleep paralysis and realized that's what was happening. This one's really short. I've woken up countless times in the night to see a man standing in my room. Either it's a bald guy or a guy wearing a fedora hat. It's the scariest thing imaginable. The fedora, nope, that's terrifying. Oh, wait, I just read all of them. There's no way that was 31. Wait, there's absolutely no way I just read 31 stories. I can't believe that. I thought I was on like 15, honestly. I was like, there's no way I'm getting through all of these, like I'm gonna end soon, and I actually got through every single one. I know it's weird because it really freaks me out, but this has to be one of my favorite topics I've read about recently. I don't know why those really captured my attention. I didn't even realize I read 31 of them. And so I hope you guys enjoyed, but that's all I have for now. If you have any stories like this that you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit link down below. Just tag it as paranormal. I don't really know what this would be considered. I guess you don't really have to flare it as anything. You could just say I had sleep paralysis or whatever. But if you want to share stories about sleep paralysis or lucid dreaming or anything like that, feel free to share it on the subreddit. I'm gonna go so I can take off this fucking eyelash. I love you guys so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Look at it. Look at it. Wait, hang on. Oh wait. Oh my gosh, wait, it like glued itself down. I don't know how that's possible, but it like, when I checked in the mirror before I started filming, this half was off my eye and I was just pushing it down to like sit there, but now it's like back on. Whoa, how did it do that? I think I said this at the beginning, but I do think I messed up my sleep schedule because when I was camping, I would go to bed at like midnight, but I would be waking up at 5 or 6 in the morning because I just couldn't sleep. And now being home, like I got home Monday and I went to bed at like 7 p.m. because I was just exhausted. Like the drive killed me, just waking up so early, whatever, not getting much sleep. And so I went to bed at like 7 and woke up at 5. And then I did the same thing last night just because that was like my new routine. So last night, because it's Wednesday when I'm filming this, Tuesday I fell asleep at 7, I think, or maybe 8, and I woke up at like 6 this morning, and I'm like, let's not do that. It's literally like 9 o'clock now, like now that I'm done filming, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with the rest of my day? I like waking up early because I feel like I have so much more time to do stuff, but I also hate it because I feel like I have so much time. And I don't like that because I get bored. But like waking up at 6, I'm still tired when I wake up. Like the sun's barely rising. I'm still tired. And then I woke up this morning. So last night my eyes were so itchy and I was itching them, which is a horrible idea. So they got really swollen last night. And then I woke up this morning and they were still so puffy, and I couldn't tell if it was because they were like swollen last night, probably. Or if it's because I woke up so early and I was still tired, or a mix of both. But like my eyes are so puffy right now. It's gross. And they're watering really bad. That's why my eyelash was kind of coming off, but now it's on. So I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna go though, because I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Honestly, I have nothing to ramble about. But love you guys. See ya.